Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching Misery by Rob Reiner, starring Kathy Bates and James Caan. I want to start off by saying thank you to all my subscribers and patrons. I just started less than 12 weeks ago and I never expected over 3,000 people to be subscribed and watching me review films. It's been surreal, especially how my Patreon page has grown. I want to thank each and every one of you and to tell you that I read every single comment posted on the channel. Even if sometimes I don't get the time to reply to them all. I really appreciate all the love and support. Okay, about Misery, I know nothing of this film except that it's set in a remote cabin somewhere, which I saw from the poster. I'm familiar with Rob Reiner's work, as I've seen When Harry Met Sally. I've also seen his acting work like Sleepless in Seattle and The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm also a big fan of Kathy Bates and James Caan's work. Both are fantastic actors and I'm looking forward to their performances in Misery. To help support the channel, I have a Patreon page for full reactions, early access, and weekly polls for what to watch next. You'll need your own copy of the film to watch along, of course. Please consider being a patron. Please subscribe to the channel if you like to see more content like this. And if you like the video, like it, and dislike it if you don't. With all that being said, let's get started. Misery, Reiner, Bates, Caan. Let's go. Rob Reiner. Dom Perignon. It's expensive champagne. So he's a writer, I assume, who just finished a novel. And his name is Paul Sheldon. Okay. I didn't see any introduction credits or anything at all. Very unique way to start a film. So Rob Reiner is choosing a very cold color palette. It's a Stephen King novel? I had no idea! I'm watching two Stephen King films back to back. My expectations of this film just became a little higher now. Just because of King's name in it, I expect really good characters. Oh shoot!
I was rummaging through a closet, it was just sitting there.
It's nice, Paul. It's got character.
Exactly.
I've been a writer since I got in the misery business.
So his novels are called Misery. That makes sense.
The first printing for Misery's Child was the most ever. Over $1 million. And what thanks does she get? You go and kill her.
So he's wealthy.
I never meant for it to become my life. If I hadn't gotten rid of it now, I'd have ended up writing it forever.
So he's tired of writing Misery's character and he wants to finish his book. Oh, thank goodness somebody's actually there. Holy crap, she must be a strong lady. I'm sure it's a stunt woman.
There's nothing to worry about. I'll take good care of you.
Right.
I'm your #1 fan. You've been here 2 days. My name is Annie Wilkes.
She seems nice enough so far, actually giving him medical care and stuff. Even the music reflects that.
How come I'm at hospital?
The blizzard was too strong. I couldn't risk trying to get you there. You mustn't tire yourself. You've got to rest.
Another fadeaway transition to show at least some time has passed.
Your shoulder was pretty badly dislocated. What I'm most proud of is the work I did on those legs. You have a compound fracture of the tibia in both legs, and the fibula in the right leg is fractured too. And as soon as the road's open, I'll take you to a hospital. In the meantime, you've got a lot of recovering to do, and I consider it an honor that you'll do it in my home.
We're talking months of recovery, I think, because 3 broken bones in the leg.
I think one of my clients, Paul Sheldon, might be in some kind of trouble.
Nothing's been reported out here.
This is really good acting. And the fidgeting with his hands.
And there you were, leaving the lodge. And I wondered why a literary genius would go for a drive when there was a big storm coming. The Misery novels. I know them all by heart. All 8 of them.
Reiner just created a central conflict of the film.
I noticed in your case there's a new Paul Sheldon book, and
You want to read it?
if you wouldn't mind.
I don't know whether she's pretending to be naive and innocent, but her performance is very layered.
Maybe you can come up with a title.
Like I could do that.
I sure hope nothing's happened to him.
So do I.
I bet that old Mustang is pulling into New York right now.
The swearing, Paul.
She's clearly a Christian lady with the cross, so...
Everybody talks like that.
They do not. What do you think I say when I go to the feed store in town? In the bank, do I tell them, give me some of your Christing money? See what you made me do?
Oh my god.
Paul, I'm sorry. Can you ever forgive me?
This is so weird. The tension building in this film is very odd. Yeah. Immediately looks outside as if to show that he wants to get out of there immediately. Beautiful shots.
Virginia, when you're in this car, you're not my wife, you're my deputy.
Well, this deputy'd rather be home under the covers with the sheriff.
It's a small town. I can already tell this character, the sheriff, is a good guy.
Need some help? No, I'm enjoying myself.
I really love his wife. She seems like a good character too. Oh no. Oh, the music just switched to sinister. She didn't let the sheriff know.
What I got. The agent said she would tell her you were okay, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait till tomorrow if you want to talk to her yourself. I'm on page 75.
I can live with great.
It's not just great, it's perfect.
I wonder how I'd react if I met my favorite writers, especially the ones who are dead, like Bertrand Russell or even Carl Sagan.
My Sal, Misery. She just makes me smile.
Misery makes her smile. I don't know whether that's a metaphor or not.
I'm on page 300 now, Paul. What's the ceiling that Dago painted?
The Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, that and Misery's Child.
Kathy Bates's acting is pretty incredible. I can't settle on her character. I don't know when she'll switch.
That was when I first discovered Misery. Made me forget all my problems.
You. How could you? She can't be dead.
Oh my god.
Misery Chastain cannot be dead. I don't want her dead! I want her!
There's broken legs.
You murdered her! She didn't just slip away!
Okay, she's nuts.
Annie!
That was a fantastic scene. Excellent dialogue.
And don't even think about anybody coming for you, because I never called them. Because if I die, you die.
Paul's in shock. Rob Reiner is doing a great job in building tension. Just a very light undertone of a score. That's it. I like how the director changes the camera perspective and brings it to his level. We were looking down on him, but we're clearly not. We're on his level. And we relate to him more than anybody in the film so far.
As soon as we know anything, we'll let you know.
Let me help you back in.
And the director chooses to show James Caan from a downward angle.
I have a big surprise for you. But first, there's something you must do.
Is she going to burn the manuscript?
I know this is the only copy, Paul. As long as it does exist, your mind won't ever be free.
I really love their exchanges and the subtleties of their performance.
Oh, my goodness!
That's the Wilkes farm, straight ahead.
You can see the hopelessness and despair forming in Paul's eyes. Good call, Paul. I already suspected the pills from the beginning, but now I'm thinking they're definitely sedating him somehow.
You're gonna write a new novel. Your greatest achievement ever. Misery's Return.
What is he thinking about the hairpin?
I can't work on this paper.
It does smudge after all.
Because if you want, I'll bring back the whole store for you.
Hoo-hoo-hoo.
What's the matter?
I go out of my way for you. I do everything to try and make you happy. Oh, you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write on this paper, Annie.
Alright, Paul, you gotta do something now. I notice Rob Reiner isn't using any sounds whatsoever. And he's out. Who is he gonna call? Oh no. It's not even a real phone. Were Jeep Cherokees really common in the 80s and early 90s? It's placed the wrong way. It's the pills. Again, I have to say the music is so minimal and it's almost not there. We're literally halfway through the movie and I have no hope for Paul. I hope he's not thinking what I'm thinking. I really love these shots. They're building tension very differently. And this is the first time the music ramped up a little bit.
Your color is very hectic.
I've been sitting here suffering. I need my pills.
My genius needs his rest before he writes. In case you think of any ideas.
She is so creepy. Oh, please tell me they're gonna find the car.
You don't think he's dead, do you?
At first I assumed he's just going to collect them all and try to drug Annie, but I'm not too sure now. I wonder what he's typing. I like how Rob Reiner... Oh, that's a reflection of the state of his mind.
I'm sorry, Paul. This is all wrong. It's not worthy of you. Throw it all out. My favorite was Rocket Man. And once it was a no-brakes chapter. Just before the car went off the cliff, he jumped free. And all the kids cheered. They just cheated us. This isn't fair.
Wow.
He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car.
The camera work here is fantastic, and I'm not going to even say anything about Bates's performance. She's literally dictating his book now. Although the cinematography is not the best, I have to say the camera work and the framing of the characters is very, very well done.
Should I continue?
You better. I've known from the very first book that misery had to be born of nobility, and I was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on my Liberace records.
She turns into such a fangirl when she gets what she wants.
Would you have dinner with me tonight?
She feels like it's an honor.
Oh, Paul, it would be an honor.
Exactly. But I'm sure Paul has plans with the pills.
I figured that if I can't find Paul Sheldon, at least I can find out what he wrote about.
The lighting work in the darker scenes is really fantastic, especially how the director plays with light on his actors' faces.
Do you have any candles?
Oh, I'll go look.
It's perfect.
Oh no! I don't know how many days or nights he's been here, and you can see the weather's changing over time. Wow. The editing, the editing, the editing.
I know you don't love me.
Why would you lose me?
Book's almost finished. Your legs are getting better. Soon you'll be wanting to leave.
As if he doesn't want to leave now.
I might put bullets in it.
Oh, like the quiver in James Caan's face. That is intentional, and that's fantastic.
I will be judged by him.
I hope the sheriff deduces something from the book. Oh no, no. She's responsible for the deaths of babies. Oh no, I think we're approaching the climax or the third act because there's only one thing left to resolve. How will Paul get out of here? Or if he'll get out of here. Again, amazing filmmaking. That was tension building without almost anything. There were 2 cuts and very little score, but the expressions on James Caan's face really sold it.
See you in the morning.
Oh, what? Firstly, that jump scare really got me, and secondly, holy crap.
I know you've been out.
He looks so drugged.
What?
My little ceramic penguin in the study always faces due south. Is this what you're looking for? I found your key.
Please don't do it.
No! He doesn't have that resolve anymore.
Say.
It's for the best.
Eddie, please!
Almost done. Just one more.
You could see the ankles separating in that shot. I don't know how they did that, probably a prosthetic, but
God, I love you.
this movie is getting crazier and crazier every minute. What a beautiful revelation. Now the sheriff's onto her.
Hi, Pumpkin!
There is no politeness left in him anymore.
Typing kind. Well, that kind. Nothing odd about that.
That was expected though.
Oh, my.
Do you happen to know anything about Paul Sheldon?
I'm his #1 fan. I've got all his books.
Mind if I take a look around?
Of course not.
Is she planning to kill him and take credit for his work? they both have an eye on each other. I have a feeling that the sheriff is in trouble, and I'd be really pissed off because he's such a nice guy. Oh crap.
Miss Wilkes?
Here! I'm down here! Down here!
Oh no. The sheriff's gonna die, isn't he?
Mr. Sheldon?
Don't feel bad, Paul.
She literally has no emotions. She's a
It's a sign.
sociopath.
I put 2 bullets in my gun. One for you, and one for me.
We are meant to be together. We have the power to give misery eternal life. Just started the last chapter. I'll need 3 things.
This is also framed beautifully with the gun.
Did I do good?
This time we'll need 2 glasses.
Paul, you can't!
Why not? I learned it from you.
Oh,
No, not misery! Not my misery! No, not my misery!
oh man. Oh, this is crazy, guys. Is she dead? The framing of these shots are amazing. He's alive. It's miniature misery. Yeah, she's dead. Oh man, what a climax. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, 18 months later.
This is it. Very first copy. I thought you were over it.
I don't know if anyone could ever totally get over something like that.
He's hallucinating for sure.
I still think about it once in a while.
Excuse me. I just want to tell you I'm your #1 fan.
That's very sweet of you.
I really enjoyed that movie. Okay, so I took some time to collect my thoughts. First off, that was a really enjoyable film. I actually had no idea that it was based on a book by Stephen King. That was a big surprise for me. I see why it's still such a beloved movie. It's because King's characters are so well developed and captivating to watch. It's a story that grabs you from the minute that Kathy Bates' character is on screen. James Caan was fantastic too, but we'll get into that. Let's start with the directing. Rob Reiner did a great job in presenting King's work in a very suspenseful manner. I don't know how faithful the adaptation is, but I can tell you I was invested the whole time. Reiner rarely used overt music to draw the attention of the audience. Instead, he used his camera work and his actors to build up the tension. The story starts off with Paul, the writer, getting in a car crash and being rescued by his self-proclaimed #1 fan, Annie. At first, Reiner shows her to be relatively normal person, but he kept giving us clues to her true mental state. By the 3rd or 4th scene, her real personality starts to show. This was done brilliantly by quickly switching her persona with an underlying dramatic thriller score. Another thing that Reiner did was a certain zoom on Bates' face when she goes on a crazy rant. That by itself was enthralling to watch. One more observation I made is Reiner used only a couple of actors in the entire film. I don't know whether it was to intentionally invest the audience in the main characters or was just the way it was written by King. Either way, it worked really well. Let's go on about the cinematography and editing. Although the cinematography was visually striking at times with the snow and the Colorado mountains, the indoor scenes were less impressive. It was very traditionally shot. However, the framing of the shots were insane. they were award worthy. It reminded me a little of Fargo, maybe because of the similar atmosphere, but I think it goes more than that. The editing, on the other hand, was fantastic. The montage where Paul finishes writing Misery's Return was excellently edited. The transitions in that scene were picture perfect and so smooth. So was the final confrontation between Paul and Annie. The chaotic nature of that scene was edited so flawlessly that it really contrasted well with the build-up of the first two acts. The music in this film was non-existent. There were no songs that I could recall. Even when Annie said she'll play her favorite record, we actually never got to hear it. There was some underlying score which was used either when Annie was doing something crazy or when Rainer wanted us to feel hope. I wish there was a little more score in the scenes where Paul was alone in the house. I don't know whether that would have changed the ambience and the claustrophobia of the film, but I'd like to think so. The set design in this film was really good too. Most of the film takes place in Annie's house. The little details of her life was on full display on screen, like her ceramic miniature animal collection, which showed obsessiveness, and her memories lane scrapbook. That was unnerving when finally shown. There wasn't any practical effects to note here, but the makeup on the actors were very well done, especially when Reiner showed us the state of Paul's legs at the beginning of the film. Okay, let's get into the performances. Kathy Bates was easily the standout actor, playing Annie Wilkes, the obsessed fan. The nuances in her performance was sublime to watch. She could switch personas in a second, and the change in her vocal tone was unnerving to hear. I suspect she was a serial killer, as King and Rainer don't go into too much details about the missing babies in the maternity ward she was in charge of. She was terrifying, to say the least. The way she casually spoke of violence, all the while not swearing or showing much expression in her face, was fascinating. The most disturbing scene in the entire film had to be the one where her character breaks the ankles of Paul to prevent him from escaping. Speaking of Paul, he was played by the legendary James Caan. I obviously watched The Godfather like 100 times, and his character was so different to that of Sonny Corleone. Instead of anger, Caan portrayed Paul with a certain resolve. He was determined to rid himself of the Misery books, and by the end his resolve strengthens because he writes a book for himself and not for the critics or the people. I did notice a parallel between Annie and Paul though. Both of them had layers to their characters, both being outwardly polite while their body language suggested something completely different. For example, when Annie was shaving Paul's face in the beginning, she had a strong, almost willful or controlling grip on his face. Things like that raised the film from average to great. Richard Farnsworth and Francis Sternhagen played Buster and Virginia, the husband-wife sheriff and deputy, aka my favorite couple of the film. I don't believe I'm familiar with either actors, but both of them had great chemistry on screen. Reflecting on it now, I feel bad for Buster when he was killed, realizing that Annie is now alone in the world. I really enjoyed both their performances. One criticism of the film might be the lack of music, but I don't think that necessarily affects the overall film. I would have to say though, I wish I got more scenes of of Paul's agent and his life back in New York. I think that would have given more exposition on Paul. We don't know much about him as we do with Annie. Apart from that, I would rate this film very highly, and I also have to commend both Rainer and the actors for bringing pages from a book alive and for creating such a claustrophobic atmosphere. I recommend this film for teenagers and up. Anyways, thank you for watching. I do have a Patreon page. Please consider being a patron. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one.